So many meetings on the road now. I gotta leave her for the show, but she really saying no. She believe I gotta slow. Just try to know. I need a moment on an island, no. I need to know where every vibe can go. I need a moment where the time is slow, but she told me slow down on crypto. She doesn't know this is it though. Need a vacation from the big show. Need a vacation from the get-go. She told me slow down on crypto. Crypto, the market is a give go. I get more. I'm living on the warp tour. Score more. Retired from the board floor. I'm more for it. They're telling me to slow down, but not now. The minute that it goes down, I buy out. Got another tour stop, but never with a tour stop. I just try to know. I need a moment on an island though. I need to know where every vibe can go. I need a moment where the time is slow, but she told me slow down on crypto. She doesn't know this is it though. Need a vacation from the big show. Need a vacation from the get-go. She told me slow down on crypto. She doesn't know this is it though. Need a vacation from the big show. Need a vacation from the get-go. She told me slow down on I won't slow you down. I'll try to hold you down. My eyes are open now. Won't slow you down. Won't slow you down.
All right, guys. Hyderabad. You guys look beautiful. All right, guys, so I would like to start off by introducing myself. My name is Diego Lara. I am a business partner and management partner of Balina's and 100X Advisors. All right, so first of all, I would like to thank each and every one of you guys for coming out and supporting the Balina Crypto World Tour. It's truly an honor and a pleasure. So just to give you guys a little background about the Balina Crypto World Tour, this all started with live streams, right? As many of us got to know Ian on YouTube, and it kind of evolved into different meetings all over the states. So he would have a meetup in New York, and about 20, 30 people would show up. He would have a meetup in Washington, 20, 30 people would show up. And little by little, it started getting bigger and bigger until the venues where we would have the meetups just weren't large enough, right? So things kind of transitioned from small meetups and friendship talks, crypto talks, to actual conferences literally all over the world, right? So just to give you guys a quick browse, Q4 2017, we did the Asia World Tour, and that was incredible. It all started with meetups, and then that's around the time where things started to transition a bit into the whole conference phase. Q1 2018, that was part of the Asia Tour, and then we also included the South American Tour. So we traveled out to Colombia, Argentina, Chile, and learned a lot. It was a great process. Q2 2018 was when it all started getting really interesting. That's when we started to travel Europe, went to approximately 15 countries. To name a few, it all started in Barcelona, London, Stockholm, Prague, Bucharest, Budapest, Paris, Kiev. I might be missing a few. Then we ended up in Russia, right? So yeah, so it's truly an honor to finally be here in India. I recall Ian had a live stream, and one of the questions was, when are you going to come to India, right? And he promised on air that eventually he would be in India at some point this year. And you guys have him here. You have him live. Like I said, once again, it's truly a pleasure and honor. So please, let me introduce not just my business partner, not just my managing partner, but more than anything, one of my really close friends. I call this guy my brother. So Ian Balina, if you would come on stage now, it would be incredible. It would be an incredible pleasure to have you up here. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you, Diego. India, we're here. Namaste. Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, thank you, Diego. Wow. Just want to say thank you guys so much for the support, for being here. You guys could be anywhere in the world, but you're here today. So I want to say thank you for that. I appreciate your time. And then today, for the first time ever, we're also live streaming this to the whole world. Right? So as you guys know now, the Crypto World Tour has kind of become this really big event that is, in a way, really helping showcase startups and ICOs all over the world that nobody had heard of. So today's a very special moment, because the next big ICO could be here in this room. What if I told you I met Sparkster at an event like this? I met Eden Chain at an event like this. I met Nucleus Vision at an event like this. And today, we've done our homework as well, and we think there's an all-star ICO in the room. They're over here in the front row. Which one it will be, you guys will have to wait and see, all right? But today's gonna be a big day, I think. With that being said, I wanna give a quick intro to my team. As you guys just mentioned, or just saw, you saw Diego. Diego's part of 100X Advisors, which is our new ICO advisory firm. So shout out to Diego. Then we also have Ugo over there, part of 100X Advisors as well. Then we also have my team over there. Justin and Dan. Justin's over there in the back. He's doing all the video, the audio. And we have Dan over here as well, my producer. So all the amazing content you guys are seeing, all the stuff we're really trying to innovate with our content, like the live streams right now, is being done by an all-star team of producers. So I want to say thank you to those guys as well. All right, with that being said, on the agenda today, I want to try to offer you guys as much value as possible to make sure all of you that came here got as much value as possible. This is a free event, but we want to make sure we maximize and 100x the value of you guys being here. We want to 100x your time. And I want to give you that piece of nugget, that information, that insight that will help you make a ton of money. Obviously not financial advice. Do your own research. All right, so on the agenda today, I'll do a quick intro on myself, who I am, what I'm doing, what 100X Advisors is doing. Quick show of hands. Who's heard of me before? All right, most people. Quick show of hands. Who's never heard of me and is here for the first time being exposed to me? Okay, a few hands. Okay, so in the interest of time, I'll keep my intro very short, all right? Then following that, we'll go straight to the ICO pitch. right? Because I think that's one of the most valuable things of this crypto world tour. We'll go to the ICO pitch, and we have, I believe, 5 ICOs. Is that correct? Where's Diego? 5 ICOs. All right, we'll do that for about half an hour, 40 minutes, depending on how timing goes. Then following that, we'll do the AMA with me. So any questions you guys want to ask me, you can ask me here live in the flesh. All right? And then following that, we'll have a photo session over there. I know all of you guys want to take a selfie. Right? We'll make sure there's time for you to take a selfie. All right? And then anything else you guys want to do, we can do that too. All right? Are you guys ready? Yes. All right. All right, so who is Ian Balina? So the quick story on me, I'm a full-time angel investor in crypto, blockchain, token sales, ICOs. We kind of have different paths, right? You have people who do mainly trading in crypto, but for me, I focus purely on ICOs, purely on initial coin offerings. Who doesn't know what an ICO is? Just kind of want to know my audience. Very few people. So most people know what it is, right? An ICO is similar to an IPO, initial public offering on Wall Street. So imagine investing in Facebook or Snapchat or Uber before it became a stock available for purchase by the entire world on Wall Street, on an exchange like NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, or whatever, right? It's basically getting in at the earliest price. So it's very similar to venture capital, to VC investing or angel investing, right? So you're basically getting in at the best price possible, and ideally, right, kind of like in stocks and IPOs, once there's an exit, once it's public, right, you have a better return. So ICOs is when projects that are creating a token are selling it for the first time to the general public or to private investors before it gets onto an exchange. Ideally, it gets onto an exchange. Some tokens just die, never hit an exchange, right? But that's what an ICO is. So I do that full time. Prior to doing that, I was working full time at IBM for 4 years. My last year, I was a sales executive at IBM, covering IBM open source analytics, Watson, and the hybrid cloud. So I was selling to Fortune 500 executives IBM software. Prior to that, I was a sales engineer for 3 years before I crossed over to the dark side of sales when I realized there was more money in sales and bigger commission checks. Prior to IBM, I was working as an IT consultant at Deloitte. A great company, one of the biggest IT companies in the world, but it wasn't really for me. I have a background as a software developer, master's and bachelor's in computer engineering. So I come from a very technical background, even though you may not know it. And the reason I do that is actually on purpose, because being able to explain an idea, you have to kind of not explain it in the manner an engineer would. That was my job at IBM. Right? Imagine trying to sell IBM software to a CIO for a Fortune 500 company. You can't go in there and start talking super technical. You have to really talk their language. You have to kind of talk business talk. Right? That was my full-time job. So I've kind of applied that with education, content creation around around blockchain and ICOs. And I got my name in this space by really bringing a whole new way to evaluate ICOs called token metrics. So think of this as using data and analytics to figure out what ICOs are undervalued and being able to invest in them ahead of everybody else based on your research and the data and the numbers. Because prior to this space was very similar to gambling. It was basically the wild, wild west. People were just investing based on hype, based on FOMO, based on gut feeling, and similar to the book and the movie Moneyball, how that really brought data and analytics to baseball, I've basically kind of applied the same thing to ICO investing specifically, this very narrow niche in crypto. And we've done it very consistently, showing that we can really consistently make money in ICOs, because most of ICOs fail. I would say 90 to 95% of ICOs will lose you money. Right? Let's even be generous. Let's say 80% of ICOs will lose you money. With token metrics, we can flip that. Not financial advice, obviously, based on your own research and your own systems, but my system has almost consistently 80% of the time made me money with ICO investing. Obviously, I'm not perfect. Nothing is perfect, but at least for me, it was better than when I was just investing based on big names, based on popular ICOs or whatever, right? This system has allowed me to quit my job at IBM, a job that was very good. People thought I was crazy. I was making almost $500,000 at IBM, and I gave that up to go full-time into crypto because this system was that consistent, and I knew it would stay consistent, and it has, right? So I'm here to share that system. I share this publicly via my social media on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all open source, all for free. I built up my name by really sharing my blockfolio and my trades, every single ICO I was investing in, what price I got it at, and just showing my spreadsheet. My spreadsheet became what I think probably one of the most, if not the most viewed spreadsheet ever in history. At the peak, it was getting over 1 million views a month, and that was just only the data I could see. Obviously not all the links and other stuff you can't really track, but over 1 million hits a month. And it helped make me a millionaire prior to that. So my first time being a millionaire was from crypto and that spreadsheet. And more importantly though, this helped create lots of millionaires all over around the world. And I think the best thing about that is I did it for free. Because for me, it's not really about making money per se, it's about educating people who want to make money. I feel like if you have the hunger, if you have the desire, and are willing to put in the work, willing to do your own research and put in the time to make money, you should have the content and the education to do that, right? So that if you're here, for example, best example, who knows my admin in my Telegram group, Azim? Some of you guys know him, right? So I've known him for 3 years. I used to work with him in my startup prior to crypto. Once I quit IBM and went into crypto, I was like, hey, you know what? I gotta have more admins for my Telegram. Azim, can you come and be my admin? And he was like, what is crypto? What is this? So I taught him crypto, all of this, and now he's basically, I've helped change his life and transform his life just by educating him about crypto and ICO investing. And now he really has this aspiration of becoming a millionaire, something that may not have been possible. He's based in Pakistan, or may have been tougher based on regulation and just lack of opportunity. But being able to now really transform your life, because I feel not only is our cryptocurrencies the biggest transfer of wealth, but even within this space, ICOs are even a bigger transfer of wealth, right? ICOs have made more millionaires than almost anything. And that's why I focus specifically on ICOs, because when I went to my first cryptocurrency conference, and I met so many people who were millionaires, and I thought they made the millions trading. But after talking to all of them, I noticed a pattern. That pattern was, I got into the Ethereum pre-sale or ICO, I was part of the MateSafe ICO, I was part of this ICO. I'm like, ICOs? Man, we missed the bullet, we missed the train. This is the next rocket ship. So we came back, and we're just investing in everything, any ICO that could walk, because we thought ICO was a ticket. But it wasn't until we had a strategy that was consistent until we actually began making money. So anyway, that's the short version of who I am. I definitely recommend you go to my channel on YouTube. Just type in Ian Balina or Diary of a Made Man. And I have a full video on ICOs, what they are for beginners, over a 1 hour video. That's kind of gone viral, over 300,000 views in basically 1 year. Probably what I would think one of the best videos out there for beginners on ICO investing. Also watch my live streams, AMAs, where I sit down with you for 3 hours live on the air and just review ICOs, showing my system of token metrics. Who here is going to the International Blockchain Congress tomorrow? All right, so if you're going to tomorrow, even better. I'll be doing a workshop on token metrics. All right, so we can sit down, go through the spreadsheet, explain how it works, why it works, and even give you some ICOs that are gonna be hot the next week or so. How do you guys like that? Sounds good? All right. All right, so with that being said, let's go straight into the ICO pitch. So let me call up Hugo and Diego up here on stage, part of 100X Advisors. Please come on up. All right. Then So the way this is how this is going to work, right? We have 5 ICOs. We're going to have one ICO come up. They will have 2 minutes to pitch. Sorry, it keeps cutting out. They'll have 2 minutes to pitch, right? Then we'll have the next ICO, and we'll go through. Are we okay, guys? We have 2 minutes to pitch. We'll go through all the 5 ICOs. Then we'll have a panel of judges. We have Ugo, Diego, and then we have a special guest in the house. Do you guys know Rand Nooner of Crypto Trader on CNBC? Yeah, he's going to be one of our guest judges. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I'm glad to have you here. All right, crypto family everywhere. All right, so these are the 3 guest judges. Let's have you guys over, actually over here, right here. I'll sit here. All right, then we'll have the first lucky ICO. I'll let Diego take care of that. Right, so 2 minutes for each ICO. Our judges will determine the winners. Top 2 winners go to the next round, and we'll have 4 minutes to pitch their ICO. Then the winning ICO will get 10 minutes to pitch, and we'll have an AMA with all you guys. And hopefully, for you guys being here, if they do end up having a public sale, you guys can get whitelisted for being here, right? We can give them the list of event attendees, and you guys hopefully get a guaranteed whitelist spot. How does that sound? All right.
All right, guys. So pay close attention to these ICOs. They were handpicked and selected by the managing department, Ugo and myself. In my opinion, they're legit. They have a lot of potential to become the next big ICO on the market. The reason why we do the Crypto World Tour is because we're currently seeking for the next 100X. And maybe we find it here in Hyderabad. So on stage, we'll have Tim Blockchain first.
All right. To the podium.
Hi guys, thanks Ian for setting this up, the entire group. So my name is Srini. I work with Prabhat, the CEO of Tim Blockchain. My background a little bit is I've been working.
Okay, hold on. Sorry to interrupt. So we'll have a timer for 2 minutes. All right. First, tell us your names, the project, then we'll start the timer.
All right. So,
hi, I'm Prabhat. I'm a founder and CEO for Tim Blockchain. 11 years of experience into IT for top Fortune 50 banks.
and I'm Srini. I worked for over 20 years on Wall Street as a fintech consultant.
All right. And when is the ICO?
Our ICO is supposed to be by the end of August or first week of September. We have not announced the TGE yet, but like we are currently in the partnership discussions.
And TGE means token generation event, or ICO for those who are brand new to crypto ICO investing. All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Start.
So the first the problem which comes to the mind when we talk about the blockchain platform, like when we started blockchain journey, it was around 1.5 years after our involvement with one government entity in Singapore, where we were implementing a blockchain-based IT solution for track and trace of a very large e-commerce company. Then the first problem was like the bandwidth, and we are solving that bandwidth problem by changing 3 things in the blockchain architecture. That is how the consensus is done, how the transactions are stored, and how the sharding is done. Like there are various solutions out in the market, but we have designed it based on what the customers are ready to accept already. So that's our ICO is about.
So it's probably if you want to put it in one line, it's like think of it like Ethereum on steroids. That's what it is. It's a scalable, change the consensus, and you got a scalable we use the DAG mechanism for consensus, and then so right now we are in beta, not an MVP but in beta. Beta we are with about 6 DAGs. We are generating about over 50,000 transactions per second with only 6 DAGs.
So one of the coolest features about Tim Blockchain is that the whole ecosystem, like you can host dApps with on top of Tim Blockchain, which can be from Solidity, So any dApp you have on Ethereum can run on Tim.
Hey guys, can you please talk louder? People on the live stream are having issues hearing. So just louder and mic closer.
Okay. So I was saying that the coolest feature of Tim blockchain is like making dApps reality. Like Bitpost is one of our dApps now, which will run on Tim blockchain from November, right? So if any of you have a dApp which you are running for any business, testing for your business, you can come on Tim blockchain, directly portable, and have your business like scale phenomenally. So that's the promise.
One of the key things is we include the GPS technology into it, the geolocation, because of which we have built a technology such that even if you lose your private keys, your funds cannot be transferred from your wallet. How's that? So that we can talk more about it if we don't have time to go over it. But if you have time next time, we can talk.
All right, and time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Give
Thank
it
you,
up
everyone.
to Tim Blockchain.
Thank you, guys.
Hello. All right, so next on stage, let's welcome Matic Network.
All right, so tell us your name, the company you're working on, and when the ICO is going to launch.
So my name is Sandeep Nalwal. I am the COO of Matic Network. I am an ex-CTO of e-commerce of Wellspun Group, which is a $4 billion group worldwide. And I'm an ex-Deloitte and ex-Computer Sciences
and the
Corporation.
ICO date?
ICO date is in 2 months. We'll be finishing up with our ICO.
All right.
Yep.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Go.
So currently the biggest problem with blockchains in terms of their mass adoption is the scalability. So Matic Network tries to solve that. Matic Network is a layer 2 scaling solution built on top of Plasma framework. A single Matic sidechain can have up to 65,000 transactions per second, and there can be thousands of such sidechains which can take the the capability of the network to millions of transactions per second. Matic Network team per se is a part of Ethereum Plasma research team, research group, and you can also check out some of the YouTube videos where you can see our CEO Jayanti Kanani alongside top tech leaders like Vitalik Buterin, Joseph Poon discussing about Plasma updates. Already a top 100 coin by market cap listed on CoinMarketCap is building their product, their marketplace on top of Matic Network. There are the 6 other active projects which are building on top of Matic. Some of them are building like ad networks. One particular product is building a referral marketing engine on top of Matic Network. And our current implementation for Ethereum is already live on testnet. So come join us, help us in putting India on the forefront of blockchain technology and research, and be a significant contributor to the decentralized future. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, good job. So next up, we're going to have QuickX. Please welcome QuickX on stage. It's all yours.
Yeah, hi, this is Kshitij Adlakha. I come from a tech background, a cybersecurity background, which is one of the India's top 5 cybersecurity companies awarded by Vice President of India too. And I am COO and founder of QuickX. Okay, so just to start, a simple thing.
Hold on, sorry.
Yep.
Right, when's the ICO date?
We are in private investor phase right now, and our MVP is already live.
Okay. So are you ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Okay, just a quick clap of how many of you are holding cryptocurrencies. Just a quick clap. Okay, almost everybody. How many of you can go to the market and buy clothes using your cryptocurrencies? A quick clap. No claps. Okay, so this is what we are doing at QuickX. We are bringing cryptocurrencies to life. We are the fastest real-world cryptocurrency protocol. What we are doing is, we are making your cryptocurrencies from a share-like object to a real spendable currency, wherein we are building a protocol. We are doing the transactions for same blockchain assets of the chain, and we have introduced the concept of pooling facilitators who are introducing the required liquidity for cross-chain instant transfer. So you can spend your currencies instantly with next to zero cost in real life. This is what we are doing. We have our MVP live, which we made live on 21st June, and upgraded version is also going to be live very soon. And we already have got partnership with one bank from Malta for fiat to crypto transactions and crypto to fiat transactions. And we are going to have partnership with two of the top 20 currencies, which we will be discussing about if we get a chance in the next round. So this is what we are at QuickX doing. And we are offering some products like multi-currency wallet, a cryptocurrency swap option, and a payment gateway. Our multi-currency wallet with 10 plus currencies is already live and is available to download on Google Play Store.
All right, thank you very much. So that was QuickX.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. And then next on stage is OneDex. Please come on stage.
All right, the last one.
All right.
Oh, somebody has a pep in his step.
Hi, I'm Abhinav. I'm the founder and CEO at OneDex. I spent 3 years before this at Ernst & Young as a management consultant in the supply chain division.
And when's the ICO?
So in fact, you had made a video about my ICO last year, but we are planning a future one in about 2 months.
That's what I was like. Didn't they already have an ICO?
Yes.
So it's a second ICO, second offering?
Yeah, this is on the one-chain platform. One-chain platform.
So you guys moved from Ethereum to OneChain?
Yes, yes.
And the other ICO finished?
Yeah, the ICO was finished last year. We were one of the first ones.
This
to
is
do
a
it
new
from
ICO?
India. Yep.
Why 2 ICOs?
So basically, I'll explain that in my pitch.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, so the problem that we are solving is that centralized exchanges is where most people go to trade. And the reason why they go to trade on centralized exchanges is that it's easy to use, the transactions are instant, and you can trade between coins across blockchain platforms. So right now, there are about 10 different blockchain platforms live, such as Neo, Ethereum, OneChain, etc. Now, the problem that we are trying to solve is that how to bring a decentralized exchange to the market. Meaning that how to make it easy for a layman to trade on a decentralized exchange. Now, what do I mean by decentralized? I mean that you are always in control of your funds, and the transactions confirmation happens directly on the blockchain rather than on a centralized database. So hence, it is safe, it is secure, and it's not instant, but it can be instant with certain scaling solutions such as Matic Network. Right now, we did our ICO last year. We released a decentralized exchange on Ethereum. The problems that we saw was that it was difficult to use, and people always had to kind of sign their own transactions. So hence, we just are launching an alpha version of our wallet in the next couple of days. We have got about 5,000 pre-registrations for that. Basically, it enables you to trade on a decentralized exchange, either on the Ethereum or the Neo blockchain, and hence having one single desktop application where you are always in custody of your funds, and the trade always happens through the blockchain rather than a centralized database. And this is across blockchain platforms, a single desktop application. So that is basically what we have built.
All right, thank you. All right, so those are all the ICOs. Let's have all the ICOs come back here on stage. Come back here on stage. Time for the round. Dramatic music, please. All right, so to recap, right, we'll have our panel all-star judges here evaluate the projects. So first project we had up was Tim Blockchain. Please give a round of applause to them. Then we had Matic Network. Round of applause. Then we had QuickX. And then we had OneDex. Round of applause. All right, so we're gonna give the mic to the judges here, and they'll tell us their top 2 projects.
Okay. Based on the presentation so far, I like Matic. I think they have an all-star team. They're solving, a real-world problem, trying to, build a scalable block. And they also have good decentralized applications that are going to build on their platform. I believe a lot of people know and that came out in 2017. That's a very big. It's going to be their market on their platform. So I like my house team blockchain. I believe they worked a little bit with Alibaba as well, supply chain, and they have a experience background. So that would be two.
Hello, hello. All right, so my first choice is going to be Matic Network. And the answer is simple. There's a lot of scalability going on with different blockchains. But really what's going to generate the demand of the token is for ICOs to build on top of their platform. And based on the presentation, it seems you guys are a step ahead in that sense, right? You guys have companies that are going to be building on top of your platform, and that's really what's going to generate the demand, which is really why Ethereum became Ethereum, obviously supply and demand. So Matic, and then secondary, I like QuickX. All right. They're just solving a real problem, right? Microtransactions is the one thing that is really going to help the adoptance of cryptocurrencies throughout the planet. So if we can get the microtransactions to be processed on a global scale, I think that can really push and emphasize more demand on a global scale for cryptocurrencies.
Wow, you saved me for last. So I'm stuck here because I like all four projects. I like Matic because I do like scalability solutions and the fact that you've got a proven concept. So I think that's very good. QuickX, I think bringing microtransactions to the people. As you drive around India, specifically around Mumbai and Delhi and maybe even the more populated places, to make the blockchain usable. In the USA, you don't need the blockchain. You have banks everywhere, you have lenders everywhere, you have everything. When you come to a place like India, or you spend time like I do in Africa, you know that you really need microtransactions. The last project that we saw was the decentralized exchange aggregator, should we call it? I'm a big fan of decentralized exchanges. I think decentralized exchanges are the future. I can't see institutions, when they enter the blockchain, actually trade on centralized exchanges. They're going to want to hold their own custody, and they're going to want to trade direct from their custodian wallets on decentralized exchanges. And then Tim blockchain, I'm a big fan of DAG technology. I think that getting the TPS up while keeping the network secure is the holy grail. So I'm kind of stuck between all four of you. So if I were to vote, it's a tough one because for me you're all equal. I'd probably go with Matic and QuickX.
All right. So the winners are Matic Network with a clean sweep, 3 votes. Please step up. And you had QuickX, and QuickX is a runner-up. Well, not runner-up, next round. All right, thank you so much. And guys, unfortunately, not everybody can win, but thank you for participating. All right, and then there were 2. All right, so one of you, please have a seat. So in the next round,
for the guys, for all the projects that have been up here today, we have a segment on our show called In the Spotlight, where we put 4 projects every week in the spotlight. So regardless of who wins here, I do want all 4 of you on the show in the spotlight, and you guys will be aired on NBC.
Thank you. All right. So now we get to the really interesting round, the hot seat. So please have a seat. So they will get 4 minutes. And this time our panel of judges will get to ask questions and interrogate. All right. Ugo, please put 4 minutes on the clock. And I'll give you the mic. So each one ask 1 question, pass down the mic.
So tell me about your top 3 team members and all-stars.
So our CEO, Jayanti, he's a contributor to Plasma. He's a contributor to Web3.js. He has also contributed developer tools around Solidity also. So he's a big time contributor into the Ethereum ecosystem specifically. He's also an ex-data scientist with the Housing.com. Housing.com was a SoftBank-based a startup over here, and one of the best startups in India at their time. Then I personally, I'm an ex-CTO of Wellspun Group, e-commerce of Wellspun Group, which is a $4 billion group worldwide. And I am an ex-Deloitte. I was a technology strategy consultant with Deloitte. And then I am also an ex-CSC. Before that, I also had a startup called Scope Weaver, which used to provide services around blockchain technology to its clients. Then we have Anurag. Anurag is an Iris business. It's a stock market listed firm over there, over India, and he worked with RBI, the Reserve Bank of India. He also has an exit before. He's also a serial entrepreneur. He exited with the Dexter Consulting before, with a very good exit. And then he's also an ex-Cognizant Technology Solutions, which is one of the top IT services firms in India, across the world. Yeah. So those are the 3 top people in our team.
All right, good job. Okay, so what makes you different than other scalable blockchain that's just launching on the market? That's I guess is a 2-round question. That would be number 1, and then the second one would be other than the. So one question, just what makes you different than any other scalable blockchain?
Okay, so the first thing is that I would say the biggest thing is my T-shirt says a proof of build. So we already have built a MVP, which is praised by the technical fraternity across the technical world in Ethereum, and so much so that I told that one of top 100 coin is building their marketplace on top of us, and we have research partnerships with very reputed firms, research firms like Parsec Labs, TrueBit, and all. And we are working on one particular thing, which is can be the holy grail of off-chain scaling solution for Ethereum, which is generalized fraud proofs. So that research is between the 4 firms I talked about, and then. The biggest thing is that I think that sets us apart is the feasibility of our solution. That we have account-based plasma side chains on top of Ethereum. So the decentralization and the security is provided by the plasma framework and the Ethereum main chain. And you have a very clean user interface where, as a user, you simply take your coin to the side chain, do whatever transactions you do, and you can take it back. So very recent, like 2-3 days back, a company called DAP OS, they are building a decentralized point of sale. They simply switched their solution to Matic Network in 2 minutes, and they were able to show a POS transaction in within seconds. That's like credit card transaction level of user experience. And then we also have developed like a DEX, like a mini working DEX on our platform. The user experience you will see over there is almost like a centralized exchange, that kind of. So the feasibility and the user experience of the Matic network is one of the biggest things that sets us apart. We are not promising very high research-based technologies like sharding, for example. So we have a governance-based sharding where we have a single side chain that we have already attached to the Matic network public layer. We can attach multiple side chains. For us, it's an engineering task. It's not a research task for us. Like we have to devise a algorithmic-based sharding algorithm. For us, we can simply implement a governance model which can allow multiple side chains to be added and scale this transform. So I think the feasibility is the biggest part.
So I'm trying to get more of a sense of how your technology actually works. If I understand your technology correctly, what you're doing is you're creating multiple side chains which operate on top of the Ethereum network and only transact with the blockchain periodically. So that you don't have to. So it's almost like you're technically netting into the blockchain.
Yeah. So basically, what happens is that let's say this is the Ethereum main chain, and below it there is a public proof of. These are checkpointing layer. This is a public checkpointing layer which uses proof of stake as a consensus mechanism. Below this public layer, there are side chains, and these side chains are very fast, block producing side chains because the number of consensus participants and the side chains is less. So they produce very fast blocks, like 1 second blocks, which give you a very good user experience. And every 5 minutes or a periodic particular time, this public chain, this checkpointing layer validates all the blocks on the side chain and pushes it onto the main chain. The security model works like that, that if there is any kind of fraudulent activity happening over in any of the side chains, this public layer catches them. Even, let's say, in a very extreme scenario, all of these public layer and the side chains go rogue. Even then we have, fraud proofs, which is a concept of plasma frameworks, where anybody from the public can come on the main chain and initiate these fraud proofs. If any of the challenges are successful, the stakes, the proof of stakes, the stakes of these parties who participated in that consensus to do that fraudulent transaction are slashed, and the stakes, the rewards are given to the challenger. So that's one part, and this fraud proof is also comes from the plasma framework. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, and then we have quick hacks. All right, we go put time back on the clock, and then we'll start.
Okay, so I understand exactly what you're trying to do, and that is to create micropayments and to actually make the blockchain usable. But you were going so fast that I don't understand how your technology actually works.
Okay,
so can you walk me through the technology?
Okay, I'll explain you in detail how exactly we're working. Everybody in the world is now talking about tokenization, that we have to build things into tokenization and we have to bring in tokenization. Everybody is building different blockchains, talking about scalability, talking about shredding, but nobody is talking about interoperability at this stage. Nobody is talking about micropayments at this stage. Nobody is talking about how we can use cryptocurrencies in day-to-day life. What was the actual motive? Even 3 days ago, Vitalik also tweeted that if you can go to store and buy some product worth $5 to $100 paying through crypto debit cards, that is what we say the real mass adoption of cryptocurrencies. So our focus with this, for which we are building a protocol in which we are using off-chain mechanism to do the transaction for same blockchain assets, and cross-chain transaction. We have introduced the concept of pooling facilitators who are infusing the necessary liquidity to make sure the transaction happens instantly and seamlessly. There are many other companies who are solving the same problem, but what makes it different from any other company is we have a lending platform in between the pooling facilitators too. So that if a user is going to a platform and there are 10 different pooling facilitators who are offering different costs to him. Supposedly, I'll take an example. If one pooling facilitator is giving in 1 Ether 100 ABC tokens, another is giving 120, third is giving 130. So by default, algorithm is 131, which is going to give the best exchange rate. But what in case he does not have the enough liquidity? So tokens which he should actually get. So if the user is paying more fees and is not getting the exact output, the entire model fails. To prevent this, we have internal lending platform in between the pooling facilitators. So pooling facilitator is coming to be up to route towards the second pooling facilitator. This case, user has to pay the more fees and he's getting the defined two functions. One is the function 1, which is for the users, and second is the function 2, which is for the pooling facilitators in itself. So that pooling facilitator 3, which has no liquidity now, can take a loan from pooling facilitator 1, which is giving a better wholesale price to him and can earn the margin. Pooling facilitator 2 gets the benefit because his tokens are getting done, and user has to pay less fees.
So do you have any partnerships already within your ecosystem?
If we talk about partnerships to bring cryptocurrencies real life, yes, we have a banking partnership which is facilitating crypto to fiat transaction. It is the same bank. In order to build the complete platform, we have already partnered with 2 of the top 20 coins right now, and we are going to make this partnership public within next 10 days. There are the 2 technologies, the protocols which we are using, and they're using our technology. Also, we have already done partnership with PayX. The CEO of PayX is the COO of Paygate, which is one of the biggest payment network of South Korea. And we have already signed an MOU with them that they will be using QCX in their entire payment network in South Korea. So we have already captured that market, and we have already captured European market. We already have former European Commissioner and Finance Minister of Malta on our advisory board. CEO of Coinomi is already on our advisory board. We have a very strong technical team. We got awarded by Vice President for Innovation in Technology last year. That proves the credibility of our team. And talking about the all-star advisors, we have CTO of Huawei Technologies. We have Steve Sau, who has his 2 companies listed in NASDAQ. He's supporting us in how to penetrate into the market. We have head of crypto products of CG Blockchain and who is also the board member of Homeland Security Foundation of America as our advisor. So these are few of the advisors we have on our team who is advising us, is building the best product, and we can go to the masses.
Good job.
Yeah.
So just going with your token sale, can you tell us your token allocation, how many you're giving to investors and the team and everything?
Okay. We have given 5% to the advisors, which are vested 1 year. 13% is allocated for the team, which are vested 1.5 years in the contract. We have allocated 2% to the bounty. For private sale, we have 10%, and for public sale, we have 50%. But most of the tokens which we are selling right now are getting sold to the private investors, and we plan to close our sales in private investor phase only.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, all right. Please stay on stage. Let's get the other ICO back here, Matic. All right, so time for the moment of truth. Who will be crowned the winner of the Crypto World Tour in Hyderabad? All right, so once again, please tell us the project names for people and all over the world watching this via the live stream.
Matic Network.
The product. Okay.
QuickX, the product name.
QuickX and Matic Network. All right, so let's have the judges tell us.
So before I start, I want to ask you guys. I want you guys to clap if you think it should be QuickX. Okay. And a big clap if you think it should be Matic. That's exactly how I feel. Look, you're both good. And you're both solving problems that are real. Matic, you're solving a real technological problem because we've hit a bottleneck where blockchain is not usable because we can't get scalability. And you seem to be solving the scalability issue in a very, very advanced way. QuickX, you're solving a problem that there exists locally where we can't use crypto to buy things, like you said. Both are amazing projects and both are solving real problems. But I think because of my passion for third world countries and continents, I'm going to put my vote with QuickX today.
All right, Ran. Nice. I feel the same way. I think both projects are great. You guys are obviously targeting 2 different fields, all right? But I think I'm going to go with Matic. And the reason why is simply because you guys seem to be very advanced within your development. Usually, you know, right now we're hearing about a bunch of different projects that are currently launching under development. And you guys are already at a point where you're bringing in different projects to be building on top of your platform, right? So like Decentraland, and I think that that's really what's going to generate the demand for the token. The more projects being built on top of your platform, the more demand, less supply. So I think that's really what's going to give blockchains the value that they're looking for. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Matic. However, QuickX, you guys are great, and you know, we can definitely talk further business after this because you guys are also legit. But for my personal preference, it's Matic.
And there was one. Who do I choose? I didn't expect it to be 1-1, and the decision coming to me. Ian, can you come to my seat and? Okay. Yeah, I really liked the presentation from QuickX, and kind of explaining the partners they have, how far they are. And yeah, they're solving a real issue as well. And I've invested in some microtransaction projects as well. And it's something that I'm really passionate about as well. Matic too, it's great presentation, by the way. You know, you're very technically sound and kind of, you know, explain the tech in a way that I've not seen a lot of, you know, blockchain developers explain their tech. So I think with that, I'll have to go with Matic for me.
All right, quick hugs. Thank you so much. No worries. Stay after the event. Have a chance to network. Because of that, you win a dinner with us. If you invited to dinner with us as well. Once again, QuickX. What's your website? QuickX.com? .io. Okay, .io. All right, and congratulations, Matic Network. Now, come here. Let's have you center stage for the whole world.
Can I call my team also?
Yes, please, yeah. It's a team effort, definitely. Now, since we have lots of people that took the time to come here in person and see you witness, and witness you achieved a special moment of greatness, are you willing to offer the attendees here a guaranteed whitelist if you do have a public sale?
Sure, we'll do that.
Thank you. I told you guys I'd make your time worth it. All right, so no need to worry about the FOMO or when whitelist, whatever, right? So we will send you the attendee list, right? And you can whitelist them for your whitelist.
Sure.
Without having to do proof of caring, hopefully. Even though they do care. All right, so once again, big round of applause. All right, and you want to introduce your team members?
My name is Jayanti Kanani. I'm the CEO of Matic Network.
Oh, the CEO, wow, okay. You should have been pitching. All right, I guess he's the smooth talker over here.
Yeah, my name is Anurag. I'm the Chief Product Officer of Matic Network.
All right, once again, thank you. Okay, so now you guys are the winners. We'll get a chance to have an AMA with the entire audience here. So if you have any questions, please line up over there and just come up to the podium. And we'll only have one of you stay here on stage, unfortunately. I don't think we have enough seats for everyone, unless we can get more chairs here if needed. Actually, we do, right? We have enough? All right, please come back on stage. Sorry. All right, so who has a question for Matic Network? Don't be shy now. No questions? Okay, if no questions, the judges will ask questions, because I know I have a ton of questions now. Okay? All right, so you over there?
Yep.
We will come over here. Okay, so let me get this straight. You guys are infrastructure project solving scaling issues, right? With multiple blockchains, not just Ethereum.
So Ethereum is the first base chain we have built our MVP on. We can add multiple base chains as the base chains, and then it will also have the interoperability features. Because the framework that we are using is the Plasma framework. That framework is applicable to other base chains also.
You said Plasma was building or working with you guys. Are they building on top of you guys? Or?
No. So Plasma is an open source research
framework.
group, which is started by Vitalik and Joseph Moore.
Okay.
And Plasma is a framework. So there are many implementations of Plasma. Matic Plasma is one implementation of.
Right. Can you walk us through your roadmap?
Yeah. So one cool thing that we want to do soon is that we want to launch an alpha mainnet in 4 to 6 weeks time. And then a lot of dApps which are building on top of Matic Network. What we want to do is that, let people experience and use those dApps on top of Matic Network, like play games. We are in talks with few gaming companies. We are in talks with a few, DEX-related players, like even we also published a blog about 0x on top of Matic Network, and the user experience there becomes multifold. So a lot of applications like that, we want people to really test out those applications. So that's the first part, like the alpha mainnet. Then we have to, as we said, that a top 100 coin is building on top of Matic Network. So in in like 6 months or something. Jayanti can give the exact idea on when that is going to be live, and post that in the next year we'll be thinking on adding, like progressing on adding multiple base chains to have the interoperability features, as well as the multi blockchain scenarios. And JD will walk you through with the
so basically, the idea is to get simple transfers first on the Matic chain, and then add general state proof, fraud proof, so anyone can deploy any contract on the side chain, not just the transfers. So that's how we are hoping for, like first transfers, and then DEX, and then general fraud proofs, and then multiple things. So yeah, so in between we are bringing more games, simple games, the referral programs, the dApps, multiple dApps, and I just met one guy here. He is building the payment system on Ethereum. We thought, okay, let's bring on board also him. So yeah.
The overall intent is to build a dApp development platform as well. So basically, we want once the system is alive, up and the dApps can come onto the Matic network and have instant transactions. So as you said, first we start with the really simple ones, ERC20, ERC21, and decentralized exchange ones. But then the intent next year is to solve generalized transactions as well.
Now, in your architecture, does each dApp use a separate sidechain, or what's the allocation of how do the sidechains work?
So Matic sidechains, especially the initial sidechains, would be public sidechains. Any dApp can come and deploy on these sidechains, and there can be multiple dApps on a single sidechain. That's not a problem.
Okay. Any road trips or partnerships that you guys have or intending to get? Can you share more?
Yeah, so one partnership you already know that who are building on top of partnership. Today itself, Zebi also announced a partnership with us, and they will be collaborating with us in building enterprise, side chains, which can be, because one plan is to provide. So one plan is to provide enterprise side chains in future to to the corporates who want to have dedicated side chains for them. So that is also one area of research with them. Apart from that, we have research partnerships with Parsec Labs and TrueBit, as I told, and Decentraland. And we are researching on the generalized fraud proofs, which Jayanti said that initially we are going to bring, like initially the payments would be there on the sidechain, then slowly once we accomplish the generalized fraud proofs, then general transactions, general smart contract transactions can come on the sidechain. So any dApp can deploy the entire smart contract on the sidechain and can function as good as Ethereum. So basically in this scenario, Ethereum becomes the supreme court, and then the side chains are these, lot of like the environments where these dApps run in a much, better user experience environment.
Okay, very nice. Walk us through your entire token metric and distribution. So how much are you using for marketing? How much for advisors? Everything.
So, so we are giving 37% of the, so in total we are going to give out 40% of the tokens to public. 37% of them would be sold in the token sales, various rounds of token sales, and 3% of them would be rewarded in the form of what we call dApp drops. We are not calling, like, these are not like normal airdrops, free coins. We are actually going to ask people to use dApps on top of Matic Network. So we are calling it dApp drops. So 3% of that would be there. And then apart from that, we have 4% for our advisors, and then 5% for our partnerships. And then the founders have 16%, which is vested over 2 years, and then there is around 30% of the amount is 25% of the amount is reserved for the company reserves, which will be used in various activities like marketing. And one of the biggest things that we want to do, and we would show it with our actions, is that we are going to have a large number of developer bounties, because we want to promote the developer ecosystem to build as much as they can on top of Matic network, which will fuel the building of these dApps, and as well as the adoption of Matic network sidechains. So that is one of the biggest areas of this thing. So a large part of these reserves also in future is going to be utilized for incentivizing developers to develop dApps on top of Matic network.
What's the hard cap again?
Our hard cap is 18.2 mil.
18.2, okay. What's the biggest roadblock to adoption you may face?
Okay.
So the most problem will be facing on user experience side because we are using Plasma, so people have to make sure, okay, you are on the side chain, etc. From the Ethereum.
So you said on the experience?
User experience.
User experience.
Yeah. But we are actually trying to solve with multiple projects. Let's say Wallet Connect. So I'm not sure if you heard the name. The Wallet Connect is a protocol which you can use to connect your mobile with the dApps. So you don't have to use MetaMask to change your networks. So if you are a sidechain, you need to add your custom URL to MetaMask, or you need to store, put your private keys on the unwanted, unsecure sites. You keep your private keys on your mobile, and whenever you make a transaction on the site, on the dApps or any other, your mobile will ask you the approval, and you just approve, and it goes your transaction basically. So we are actually tracking down the user experience because we are using sidechains. So yeah, so that's I think it's a bigger problem on the user adoption. And
yeah, I mean that's a generic problem for the blockchain adoption, and that's why, as Jayanti mentioned, that we are the implementers of Wallet Connect protocol that we implemented specifically for one of these problems that we see. Then you must have heard about the Dagger product, ETH-Dagger. We are the builders of the ETH-Dagger product. It is used by multiple developers worldwide to to attach Ethereum smart contract events to their actual real applications. We are also launching integration with Zapier, which provides you generic events like you received money in your smart contract or your address, and you get an email on your email account. So that kind of dApp ecosystem we are building around, which enables dApp developers to build these applications. And the Matic Wallet app, which JD was talking about, which will be using Wallet Connect protocol, it will be providing very seamless integration. So that we see user experience as one of the biggest challenges in bringing mass adoption to people, and that's where a lot of our efforts are also headed towards.
Now going back to mass adoption, what stage of development are you in? Are you in testnet, mainnet? I'm not sure if I missed that.
So we already have a testnet live past for 2 months, and we are heading towards a alpha mainnet in next 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay, 6 weeks for alpha mainnet.
Alpha mainnet.
When's the full mainnet going to be launched?
Our full mainnet would be somewhere around 6 to 8 months in beta.
6 to
8 months.
Okay.
Yeah, because
so basically, let's say worst case 8 months for mainnet.
Yeah.
How do you plan to compete with other solutions out there like Loom Network, Radar Network, that have already launched their mainnets and also solving the same problem of scaling?
So one important distinction is, with Matic, we use an account-based model of Plasma. So someone like, let's say, other projects use a UTXO-based model, which is where one of the first few Plasma implementation based on. Why we chose the account-based Plasma implementation was because of the architecture. It would be very easy for dApps to migrate from the Ethereum main chain to the Matic sidechain. So
is that because you're using the Ethereum virtual machine?
It's the account. So we use the Ethereum virtual machine, but the account is it's a way of implementing Plasma implementation so that easy for apps to just migrate. Have to change the ID.
Okay, I mean it'd be easier, but
yeah,
other projects already have first mover advantage. Raiden launched their mainnet last year. Loom launched it this year recently. If you're going to be launching yours possibly 8 months down the line,
sure,
it's going to be hard to catch up, especially with developers.
Sure.
So how do you really get that adoption when you're already behind the clock, so to speak?
Sure. So one thing is that since, as Anurag mentioned, that many of the, like the Loom network, they are going to use the Plasma Cache. They have said that they'll use Plasma Cache, which Plasma Cache, still is yet to go live. And there have been like multiple issues in its go live. So once Plasma Cache comes, then only they can provide these fraud-proof side chains. So till the time these side chains are not secured, one is that. Second thing is that on Matic Network, we are in very advanced stage in building some of these fraud proofs also. So I think that in terms of the real going to the market stuff, we would be faster than that. Even if it takes 6 to 8 months, we should be faster than that. Second is that since they use Plasma Cache, they can only secure payments on the side chains. What we are using is an account-based model, state-based model, which will allow us to gain advantage in terms of securing the generalized states also on the side chains. That's one of the biggest strength points of a Matic network.
I had a couple of questions for Sandeep and the rest of the team. First of all, congratulations for coming here.
Yeah.
First thing is, like, when I talk of vanilla, when I think about Plasma, what comes to my mind is mass exits. Because in your case, it's a proof of stake model, as I understand, and there would be very limited number of stakers working on the final node, on the final layer. So how do you kind of prevent the mass exit case? And second question is, you also talked about enterprise solutions, I believe, which you guys are looking at. So how do you think of tackling the privacy issue in case of enterprises? These are the two major things. And third point is, you also talk about not only transaction, but even state-based. Like, I think you already have got a partnership with a couple of big firms. So what is the timeline for that launch, wherein we talk about the state-based transactions, and how safe would they be?
So basically, the first question is regarding mass exit. Basically, multiple stakers on the leg check. There is a reason to use the staker layers because it reduces the risk of mass exit and data availability problem. So even if the block producers holds your data, or maybe commit a fraud checkpoint, the stakers, the public will catch them, and they don't push the checkpoints on the main chain. So it's basically reducing the data availability and possibly the mass exit in that case. Even if the mass exit happens, it will be same as the Plasma MVP, so it will be the same. But we are actually trying to reduce it because we have like a stakers. Second question is enterprise solution. So we are actually starting research on it. I mean, we haven't started actively on enterprise solutions. And regarding privacy, it's far away because maybe you have heard the ZK snarks because, but if you create this ZK snark circuit for like Merkle of like depth of 4, it takes like hours to create a circuit. So it's very, very, very far in the future. But we just want to know, we don't want to miss the opportunity here. So that's why we are searching research on that. And third thing is, general fraud proofs, right? So we actually created bounties, 4 bounties with Parsec Labs to create simple MVP for general state proofs. So once it's done, I guess you can use it Plasma, and it's very. So it takes time, like maybe next year, but it will be secure. So yeah, so that would be the problem. Yeah.
All right. How many full-time developers do you currently have working on your product? And upon obtaining the capital, the raised capital, do you plan on hiring more?
So currently we have 6 developers, including us, and we don't want to hire much people because it reduces, it actually increases the communications and reduces your product roadmap size. So if we think we are actually going slow, we just hire like a Solidity developer and a very good Solidity developer, because I know this field very well, Ethereum field, and I know some people and who come on board and help us on this part. Apart from
So and also in terms of the developer, as Jayanti said that we want to hire few, but we want to hire the best out of this. And since Jayanti is a part of this Ethereum, he is well known in the Plasma field. also. So we want to hire only top class developers, not to have a team of 20 developers which are normal non-blockchain developers. Rather than that, we want to have like top-notch developers. So even the new additions in our team, if you see, like Vaibhav, he like in India in last year, if there were like 8-10 hackathons, blockchain hackathons, he won like 5 or 6 out of them, and he also won the consensus blockchain hackathon. So we will be adding only very good quality developers. So any good quality developers. We also met like 2-3 people over here, and we'll be interviewing them very soon. So yeah. Quality over quantity, yes, exactly. Because otherwise it gets a lot of time in communications.
All right, well, thank you so much, guys. Unfortunately, you have to go to the next segment. Once again, big round of applause. All right, so dinner? You guys have plans for dinner? Plans for dinner? Yeah. Let's do that. Oh, wait, guys. Let's take a picture for the press over here. To the moon. In a Lambo. Do your own research, not financial advice. All right, so next segment is the Ask Me Anything. So who wants to ask me a question? A few people over here? Okay, all right. Can you guys please, actually, let's have you guys stay up here. You guys trying to go? Trying to leave me out here on my own? We can have the whole panel of judges. You can ask me, you can ask Rand of Crypto Trader and our OneDex advisor team questions. All right, so please come up here and just line up. We'll leave the microphone here. All right, don't be shy. Okay, all right. Well, actually, we can have him. Okay, so he'll help us pass the mic around. That's even better.
My question is for Ian. Very easy question, actually. When will the markets recover? Is there an uphill? What is going to happen? We're very worried about it. Good projects, everything is okay.
When will the market recover?
Yep.
Very good question. If I could, first of all, let's preface all these responses as usual, right? These are just our personal opinions. They're not buy, hold, or sell recommendations, not financial advice. Do your own research, consult a legal and financial advisor before investing in cryptocurrencies, ICOs. They can be risky. You can lose all your money. The rest comes out there, right? So definitely take precautions. With that being said, if I could predict the market, I'll be way richer than I am. But from people I've been speaking with who are smarter than me when it comes to technical analysis, it seems that we're almost at the tail end, if not out of the bear market. But I think the biggest catalyst that will really get us out of this bearish trend is the speculation around the ETF. I'm not really bullish that it will be accepted initially. I feel like government and the SEC will kick the can down the road and push it to a later date. But I start to see that interest pick back up. People who weren't really into crypto, or people who bought the top in December and then got wrecked and left, and now starting to come back, right? So I feel like if the ETF does get approved, I think that will be the big catalyst, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
So I don't know how many of you watched the show that I did, and I released it last night. But I had an interview with the SEC commissioner, one of the 5 people, but actually 4 people that was responsible for making the decision. And she explained to me that the way that the ETF system, so I think first of all, I agree with Ian that we're out of the worst and we've started to turn, but the turn's not going to be anything like what we saw in October, November, December last year. I think that happens once in a cycle, and that the next increase will be way more responsible than the first increase. Now, the next catalyst, in my opinion, could be an ETF. And whether or not we're going to see an ETF on the 10th of August, I can tell you for sure we're not going to see an ETF on the 10th of August, because the SEC has a 45-day window that they can postpone it again, and that will take us towards mid-end September. But if you listen to the interview that I had with Hester Peirce, what she said was the staff made a decision, and the decision was a no. And then what they do is they escalate the decision to the commissioners, of which there are 5, but 1 is absent. And then they have to vote, and by a simple majority, they decide whether it's a yes or a no. Now, in this case, they voted no for the Bitcoin ETF because they said there could be price manipulation in the Bitcoin market. But the SEC has no jurisdiction or ambit to look at the underlying market. What the SEC has to do is the SEC has to convince itself that the instrument itself, the ETF itself that is being created, cannot be manipulated. Now, in this case, they believe the Bitcoin market could be manipulated and the ETF could be manipulated. Now, this commissioner, whose name is Hester Peirce, she published a public dissent. That's quite a strong statement. That is going against your peers and posting it in the public to say that the SEC had made a mistake. My opinion is that if you combine this public dissent with what she said, and the fact that the next ETF is actually not a consumer ETF, it's an institutional ETF. The minimum ticket size for the next ETF at the current rates is about $250,000 per ticket. I believe that the ETF, the Van Eck ETF, actually does have a chance. And that could be the catalyst for the bull run again. But again, I say, we're not going to see a bull run like we saw in October, November, December, where we get 10x growth or 15x growth or 100x growth every day. I think those days are over, and the new money that's going to come in here is responsible money.
So obviously the ETF, it was pretty clear the way you explained it, Ran. Also, I think another problem that we need to trigger ASAP is the exchange securities, right? We have exchanges like BitHum getting hacked approximately maybe a month ago for 30 million. Rumors that it recently got hacked again, and so we really need to emphasize on cybersecurity for these exchanges in order to generate the trust, right, from the institutions, from the SEC, and just give the peace of mind to the investors that this is something that we pretty much got it down packed at this point. So we got to emphasize cybersecurity on exchanges, and then that will lead to the next evolution.
Can I just make one more point? And it's going to sound like a crazy point, but I think that the bubble that happened last year was the best thing that ever happened to crypto. Now, I know you may turn around and say, how can you say that? People bought it 20, 15, 18,000 USD and are now holding at $7,000. Without the price speculation and the bubble that we saw last year, we wouldn't have as much awareness of the blockchain. What caused the awareness of the blockchain was the fact that the prices went up so quickly and caught investors' eyes. And I believe that if we hadn't had that, then we wouldn't have that much interest in the blockchain as we have today. So we're taking a bit of short-term pain because the market was overbought, and we're probably going to get to a position where we're then going to be oversold, and I think we may have even seen that position. But the next incline or the next increase is going to be a very good, very responsible increase because people who were made aware are now investing a lot of money in development. The second reason is because people made 100x and 50x on their money. So because you invested in something and you made 150x, what did you do with that money? You sold, you put some profits aside, and you took the balance and you invested it in new projects. And had that not happened, we wouldn't have seen so much investment in so many new projects. So hodl, because the next wave that's coming is going to be a much more responsible, much more mature wave with much more responsible money coming into real development of the blockchain ecosystem.
Very nice.
Hi. So first of all, I would like to thank you for all your suggestions, for your spreadsheet, for OneChain, Power Ledger, for PundiX, and
PundiX,
yes.
That's my baby. The ice here that keeps on giving.
Yes. So so my question would be related to that. So first of all, how do you identify sleeping giants like PundiX? And secondly, how do you decide a selling point? Because I ended up selling my PundiX at 4x.
4x, okay, good question. So how do we identify giants or sleeping giants? Token metrics. That's the whole power of the system, right? So a quick rundown on token metrics and what I do, how I got PundiX. when I invest in a project, the first thing I look for is an all-star team, right? Based on the data, 90%, I mean, actually, sorry, prior to that, is a prototype. First thing I look for is a prototype, but it kind of goes hand in hand. Based on the data, 90% of the best ICOs of all time had a prototype, meaning they had something. It wasn't just pie in the sky, not just a white paper idea or ICO. They had something tangible. The team could execute. They had something to prove that, right? So PundiX, they came through already having a point-of-sale device, right? So that basically goes through the first checkbox. The next checkbox is all-star team, right? Based on the data, 60% of the best ICOs of all time had an all-star team. So this is the part that is very subjective, and my definition of an all-star team is not the same as other people, but for me personally, it's been working well for me. And that definition is they have to either have either one of these things, either 2 years or more at a publicly traded company, or 6 months or more at a top 25 market cap blockchain project. So meaning they have something credible, some credible experience prior to going towards this ICO. So if they have that, then I look at the actual token metrics. How much are they raising? Is it undervalued or overvalued? What are tokens being minted? What percent is being given to ICO investors? What percent is being kept by the team? So I take all this into account, and each individual data point then turns into one holistic grade that tells me how good the project is. So with PundiX, that was, I think I had it go from, it was Hall of Fame at one point, then came back down to All-Star project. But based on all the data points, Tokenmetrics told me it was a good project. That's why I got in. Now, in terms of when do I hold and when do I take profits, everybody's different. Do what works for you. For me personally, what I do is I look to sell my initial investment after a 3x, right? So with PundiX, as you guys know, it came out around the bear market and it just dipped. It went 50% below ICO price. The funny thing is, right, now if I could go back, I wouldn't have invested in PundiX. I would have waited for the rebound because they did have a very huge bonus. But back then, my whole premise was there was a lockup on the bonus. But now I've changed recently. If there's any ICO with a bonus over 40%, even if it's a great project, I wait for the rebound, right? So imagine if we could have played PundiX even better. Because at the peak, PundiX, counting in the monthly 7% airdrop for token holders, was a 20x return in a bear market, which is amazing. But in terms of when I actually take profit, so I just waited till the 3x. Once it went to a 3x when they announced their buyback program, which is one of the most innovative ideas. I don't know why most ICOs don't try that method. They just named a price, they'll buy it back, and I just bounced back, right? So anyway, after a 3x return, I sold my initial investment quickly. Because once you've seen darkness and you finally see sunshine, you take profits, all right? Because I went on Coinbase, made an account, because you never know if it's going to go back down. Then it just kept on rising up. And after that, I took profits at 5x, 10x, 15x, 20x. And each time I was selling about 20% of my tokens. Each person is different, but for me, since it was a bear market and times were rough, I cashed out straight to fiat, straight to dollars, right? So I put in about, it was 150 Ether during the time in the ICO. It was about 150 to 200 grand. And I cashed out to fiat over 600 grand just on PundiX. And it's still one of my largest holdings, right? So PundiX this year has probably been, dare I say, the best ICO we've invested in, I think, this year in 2018. Because the best part is, even after you sell, every month, anybody who owns PundiX gets 7% tokens of whatever you're holding. They give you free money. So even if you take profits, you're still making money on it. But going back to answer your question, so I look to sell my initial investment at a 3x, meaning that if I put in, let's say, $10,000, and it goes from, token price goes from 5 cents to 15 cents, I sell my initial investment, and I reinvest that into a new ICO. Then everything else is just house money. And that you can take profits however you like. Whether you go to, you take profits every 5x or 3x or whatever. But to me, my whole thing is trying to not lose money. Anybody here with different strategies on taking profits?
So I must say, I reiterate Ian's strategy, and my strategy is a very simple strategy. When I started off with investing into crypto and ICOs, I had a bucket, and for the sake of numbers, let's call the bucket $1 million. It wasn't $1 million, but let's say that it was. And I broke it up into 10 buckets of $100,000 each. I invest $100,000 into each ICO. That's my ticket size. When I get profitable, whether it's 2x, 3x, or 4x, the first thing I do is I sell my initial investment and use that that same money to invest in other ICOs. And in a bull market, which we had, you find that you can reinvest your $100,000 100 times and still have free tokens of all the other ICOs that you've had. So for me, that strategy worked really well.
Yeah, I think you also have to transition with the current conditions of the market, right? So back in December, we had the bullish trend, and every ICO, you knew that it was the majority of the good, legit ICOs were gonna hit a 3x and potentially continue increasing. Maybe about a month ago, the market cap was around 240 billion. So all the ICOs that were getting released, you knew that if you were at a profit, you had to be aggressive with taking profits. Right, so now we're looking at a more stable market, slow uptrend. So I think the huddle rule applies more to the current market conditions as opposed to maybe a month ago. But definitely in December, a 3x was we were spoiled. It just wasn't good enough. So you huddled more, right? So you got to be attentive with the market and transition your strategies as well, depending on the current market conditions.
I'll never forget, in December, my brother came to me and he got involved in an ICO. The ICO was called Wax Token. And he came to me and he said, you know, I only made 10x. I mean, imagine going to a traditional equity investor and saying to him, you know, I only made 10x.
Yeah, I would have to agree with the sentiment. You know, the market in November, December, January has definitely changed. I would say I used to take profits at probably 4 or 5x, just based on the caliber of projects that we invested in. But I think the lesson to learn is once you see sunshine, you know, especially when you have a lot of projects, try to take your initial, because at that point you're not losing anything, and then you can reinvest it. So in this kind of bear market, you know, like Diego mentioned, it's kind of, you know, huddle. But I would say, you know, when you're profitable and have something, it's always good to take out initial, because there's always an opportunity cost as well, where if your money is tied up in one project, you could be making money in another good project as well.
The general rule of thumb is that when you feel like this is so good and I'm such a good trader, take profits. And yeah, I'm going to hold this forever, take profits. And when you feel like you can't breathe anymore, like the price has gone so far down that you go, oh, I've got to sell, let me salvage what I've got, buy.
I agree.
So going back to PundiX, so when PundiX was down 50%, I also just kind of looked at the entire market and I said, is the issue PundiX or is the issue the entire market? And the issue was the entire market. So I was willing to be more patient on PundiX because I still believed in the project. I'd done my homework. Plus, at that point in time, the volume was very low. Right? So even if I wanted to sell, like, I could not sell. Right? But I would say take a look at all the entire landscape and say, is it the project or is this the entire market? All right. Next question, please.
Where do you think, what could be the price of Bitcoin by the end of this year? Do you guys think it's going to make...
I don't like this question. What will be the price of Bitcoin at the end of this year?
Is it going to make another all-time high?
Is it going to what? Sorry?
Is it going to...
All-time high?
Yeah.
Depends if the ETF passes. I'll qualify this. If the ETF passes, we're going to the moon. We're going beyond the moon. Jupiter, next galaxy. If it does not pass, I don't think we're going to hit the all-time high.
So you think it doesn't even reach 19K by this year?
19K, is that?
Yeah, that was the last year.
20K? I think only if the ETF gets approved. What do you guys think?
Not in rupees.
I don't know the conversion rate of rupees, I'm sorry, but if you're talking USD, dollar amount?
That was in USD.
I mean, I think, because if you think about it, right, Bitcoin went to the new all-time high based on the futures market opening up. And I think you're going to have that same level of catalyst. And the only thing that's really going to do that right now that I can see is the ETF. So I guess you could say I'm very optimistic. But will Bitcoin hit a new all-time high this year? Yes.
Yeah, I would say I think he's gonna hit a new all-time high. I don't know if it's going to be as high as people think, but it really depends on the decisions that are pending. I think if one passes, there's gonna be a lot of optimism for the future of Bitcoin. I think so. All it takes is one, and there's going to be a new catalyst of new type of investors coming into the crypto space. And like Ian mentioned, all those people that bought at 20K and lost money, I think they're gonna run back in again.
Yeah, we could see an all-time high. I mean, at the end of the day, the ETF is going to allow institutions to purchase Bitcoin, right? So it's not like the futures market where we're literally gambling or betting against the price of Bitcoin. The ETF, the institutions are forced to purchase the Bitcoin and hold it in a cold store wallet, right? So that's going to take the demand out of that. There's going to generate demand on the market, and the supply is going to shorten. So supply and demand is going to obviously raise the price of Bitcoin a lot higher. So it's just the analytics behind it. It's kind of like Ethereum. There was a lot of demand for Ethereum last year because this was the primary currency being used to invest into ICOs. So everybody was buying Ethereum, using Ethereum to purchase, to buy into ICOs, and the ICOs were holding the Ethereum, not putting those Ether back into circulating, into the market circulation. So the supply and demand could definitely work towards Bitcoin's advantage. And if the institutional capital comes in due to the ETF approval, and it's a couple of trillion, we can definitely see an all-time high.
I'm going to say that there is going to be an all-time high, but I don't think it's going to be in the calendar year. I think it's going to be within the next 12 months. So I'm not convinced that December is, you cut off as December, but I certainly feel that within the next 12 months we will get another all-time high.
But again, as soon as we reach January, the Chinese people are going to remove all the money from the market, right?
I think Bitcoin or Bitcoin or crypto is really the first scarce digital programmable financial asset out there. And it's the first one that really has a scarcity. Money was never ever scarce because when governments saw there was more demand, they'd just print more money or create more money out of nowhere. But I don't think that institutions are going to run in as quickly as we think they're going to run in. I think there's a myth that says that institutions can't buy cryptocurrency today. If you look at a company in the US called Grayscale Investments, which is part of the digital currency group, they've got a listed equity product where you can buy equities which track the price of the top 8 cryptocurrencies, so Bitcoin, Litecoin, and you can buy them separately as well. And they've raised $250 million year to date, and that money has come from institutions. So I think the ETF is a big catalyst, but I don't think that all of a sudden the ETF is going to come and the switch is going to go on and every single institution in the world is going to say, hey, let's buy Bitcoin. I think it's a process, and I think it's going to be much more responsible. Remember that the last year bull run was driven by individuals who have no fiduciary duty to report to anyone but their wives. So when we lost money last year, all we had to do was report to our wives if we told her we lost money. Institutions aren't like that. Institutions have a fiduciary duty, and they have a heightened sense of fiduciary duty to their investors. And I think they're going to be very cautious before they put in their money. I don't think it's going to be this one day the ETF switch goes on and the next day all the money is going to flow in. I think we've seen that. If you look at all other bubbles in history, if you look at the internet bubble, and I was lucky or unlucky enough to trade the internet bubble at the time, that hype mania cycle happens once. And then you come down, and then you get oversold, and then you hit reality again, and you start climbing in a much more responsible way. We're in the responsible phase today.
Ian, what do you think about your Hall of Fame Sparkster?
Hall of Fame Sparkster, good question. I'm still bullish on Sparkster. Very excited about the news. We've been speaking with the team. Excited about what's going to happen in the next few weeks. I can't really say much, but all I can say is I'm still a believer.
So I noticed on your recent spreadsheets a project called Chromopolis. Chromo. I want your views, please.
First of all, it's technically not on the spreadsheet. It is as a code name. So now is probably a good time to announce it to the whole world, right? Code name Tel Aviv is Chromaway, right? And also want to disclose that OneDex advisors will be investing and advising Chromaway. This will be our first project. We're excited to partner with them. We think it's a project we believe in based on our research, token metrics. Right now, based on the data, it's the second highest rated project for us, right? All-star team, all-star project, 85%. And it's not number one because of Multivac. I actually think Multivac, based on the data, is a better project. However, their large bonus made us wait for the rebound. So besides that, though, back to Chromaway. I love the project specifically because, first of all, they have a prototype, great technology. Coming from an all-star team that was working on colored coins. Colored coins was one of the first projects creating tokens on top of Bitcoin. And the irony is they were working with Vitalik on colored coins. Then Vitalik kind of had a difference in opinion and ended up creating Ethereum, and the rest is history. So that same original team that was working with Vitalik back then is now doing a project called Chromopolis, which is really, in a way, a hybrid between a database and a blockchain. So getting the best of both worlds and creating that. And actually, the interesting thing was we had the opportunity to meet the team in Stockholm. And back then, we passed on it because we were so busy and was really, really early stage. But fast forward, we kind of stayed in touch with our friends who were early investors in it, or early advisors of the project. And we think it's a great project. With that being said, we'll have more news. Hopefully we get an AMA with the team coming up as well, probably in a week or so, maybe even, we'll have to confirm with the team, but ideally we'll have an AMA with the team for the whole world to get a chance to meet them and ask them questions. But it is a project we like, we're investing, it's an all-star project for us, and do your own research, not financial advice.
I'm biased because I heard about the project. I spent a long time with the team on several calls, and I think the project is very, very novel. The mix between blockchain and databases and storing the blockchains in the databases is a very, very novel approach. I immediately invested, and I immediately joined the team as an advisor. So that's why I was keen to hear your views. I really do think that it is one of the all-star projects. I don't know in the rankings, but it really is one of the top tier projects out there today.
Hi guys, thanks for coming and hosting this event. I'm the co-founder of Vigacha, and we are trying to democratize and decentralize the sharing economy. So on those lines, I wanted to ask a question of, it's not about ICOs or the, I wanted to know what are your thoughts on the synergies that you see between sharing economy and the blockchain and the application of blockchain in sharing economy, considering the centralized institutions like Airbnb and Uber gaining the control and exploiting data and stuff like that. Thank you.
So I'm actually busy writing a blog about that, funny enough, about how blockchain has enabled the sharing economy. And the biggest part of it, and again, I'm going to relate it to a country like India and countries like Africa and Indonesia where people are forced to be entrepreneurs. Now, if you look at the old entrepreneurial cycle, we used to go through this thing called a hockey stick or a J-curve, where if you decided in your head that you wanted to be an entrepreneur, there was a big barrier to entry. And that big barrier to entry was the fact that you had to go through this thing called the J-curve. And if you made it all the way down, which most people didn't, then at some point, which I call in my blog the point of desperation. Because as you go down, what you do is you build knowledge. But then you get to a point where you've run out of money and your wife's shouting at you and she's telling you that you've got to bring home some bread. And so you get desperate and so you have to do something amazing. And that's usually the point where the hockey stick starts to turn. Now, that's the old entrepreneurial cycle. Today we have a new entrepreneurial cycle where there's no J-curve. Because if you want to become an entrepreneur, all you do is you switch on an app called Uber, you get into your car, your motorbike, and immediately that day you're an entrepreneur and you start making money without having to go through this suffering that people had to do it. So Uber was phase one of that. But what Uber didn't have was Uber didn't have transfer of value in a fair, equitable, and immutable way. Today we have the blockchain, which means that if you can write 2 paragraphs, you can earn money, and that money can never be taken away from you. You'll be rewarded automatically when people read your content, and that money can never be taken away from you. So I think the blockchain, Uber was generation 1 of the sharing economy. Now we're going through generation 2, and generation 2 is the automatic immutable transfer of value. And for me, that is probably the most exciting part of the blockchain, is the fact that everybody can be an entrepreneur, can be rewarded immediately, and therefore don't have to go through the J-curve. That J-curve stopped 80% of people who could have succeeded from being able to succeed. How do I know? I'll give you an example. In my previous life, I was a hotshot entrepreneur. I built the biggest marketing company in Africa, and actually, ironically, we used to have offices in Mumbai as well. And one of the things that I used to do is I used to lecture entrepreneurs. And I met this guy sitting in a hall, which is exactly like this hall. And he was sitting in the front, and he said to me, "Sir, I really want to be an entrepreneur, but I can't afford it." I said to him, "It's very easy to afford it. If you know you want to become an entrepreneur, save money every month for 12 months. And then at the end of 12 months, you'll have a little nest egg, which you can..." And the guy said to me, "I can't save money." And I said, "Why?" And he was a guy, he couldn't be more than 40 years old. He said, "I have 8 kids." I was like, "Okay, you can't save any money." And now the blockchain has taken away that need, because on day one, you can have the transfer of value and you can become an entrepreneur. That is, for me, the biggest revolution of our time. Simple.
Very well explained.
My next question is, why do like 95% of dApps fail? That is my first question. Next question would be, when we have 12 TPS per second with Ethereum blockchain, already the adoption of dApps are already failed. Why do we need 1 million TPS? What is the real world use case for using 1 million TPS? Who will use 1 million TPS?
So the first question, why do 95% of dApps fail?
Yes.
I think we're too early for dApps. That's why our investment thesis is to focus mainly on infrastructure projects, mainly blockchains. And the best example is, imagine trying to invest, or imagine Netflix trying to raise money with venture capitalists back in 1990. It would have been impossible, because prior to having Netflix, you have to have fast internet access. So Netflix was too early. And I feel it's the same case with blockchain applications and dApps, right? So them trying to raise money, especially, I mean, I get very offended when a dApp tries to raise 30 million. Why do you need 30 million when we haven't even solved the scaling issue? That's why we have Matic Network over here trying to solve that issue. So I feel like dApps are the Netflix of our time, trying to raise money back when we're just still trying to go from modem to cable to fiber optic, right? So I feel like dApps are too early. That's why we don't really like dApps unless there's something that's really, really like world class, that's one of the best dApps of all time. I think the only dApp that has really done well for us historically speaking was Wabi. But Wabi, everything across the board was great about Wabi. All-star team, already had a product, everything. And only raised 10 to 12 million. So that's why any dApp now we look at, we ask ourselves, how is this different from Wabi? Wabi did amazing, only raising less than 12 million. Why does this dApp need 45 million? So for us, any dApp that's raising over 12 million, we just ignore completely because we think it's too early for dApps. Then going to your other question, why do we need 1 million TPS? Because I think personally for
blockchain and crypto to go mainstream, we have to have mainstream type applications like the Facebooks of the world, the Uber, the Airbnbs running on blockchain. And to do that, blockchain has to be able to scale and handle them. Because when blockchain fully goes mainstream, nobody will know it's blockchain underneath. When somebody's browsing Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, they don't care what the back end is. They just want to know that it works. So for those mainstream applications to pivot to the blockchain has to be able to handle them. And right now, based on the current transactions per second, it cannot handle those applications.
You asked why do we need 1 million TPS, and I think the question is, what do you define as a transaction? Within one money transfer transaction, there are actually 3 or 4 transactions that actually take place. So when you talk about 1 million TPS, that's not 1 million people passing money from one place to another. In between that, there could be a swap of currencies, there could be a smart contract execution, etc., etc. Also, don't only think of money transfer. Think about every single legal contract, every single deed, every single transfer, every single... let me give you one example of one that I think we all know that is happening is motor cars, smart-driven or driverless cars negotiating with one another as to who gets to overtake. Think about the whole world driving in driverless cars and the cars having to smart contract between each other to be able to overtake each other. For those of you who don't know what I mean, because I see quite a few blank faces, if you think about me driving from here to work and you driving from here to work in the future in a driverless car. Today, if you want to pass, you hoot or you tell the guy to move over and he moves over, but driverless cars aren't going to be able to hoot at each other. So what they're going to do is they're going to negotiate with each other, and through a smart contract, they're going to transfer value to one another. Now just imagine every single car in the world negotiating with each other to pass each other in the roads. Do you think 1 million TPS is enough? I don't think it's enough. You need way more. And that's just one application. And that's why we need 1 million TPS. Don't be in the mindset where you think like Visa and MasterCard, where you say, okay, well, Visa's doing 70,000 TPS, that should be enough. It's much bigger than that.
All right, guys, so we have to wrap this up. But so we'll end this, go to the photo session, and take selfies and pictures with me, Ran as well, the whole team. But first of all, let's give a big round of applause to our sponsor for today's event. Come on stage. Come up here on stage. RETZN Capital. All right, hold on. All right, after this. Come up here on stage, guys. I know, sorry to put you on the spot, but you guys have been amazing hosts. Crypto family here in India, in Hyderabad. Thank you, guys. All right. Thank you. So if you guys have any questions regarding investing, this is the next up-and-coming big crypto fund here in Hyderabad, India. Once again, thank you guys for sponsoring the event. I mean, really world-class event, great venue, great location. I mean, look at this, guys. We have cameramen, photographers, all-stars here on stage, and we're doing the first ever live stream Crypto World Tour event. And these guys put together an amazing show and venue. Thank you for that. All right, so with that being said, you had one last question? What's the question? Oh, what is a security token? Okay, I'll let the team answer that as we get ready.
Well, no, it's fine. Yeah, security token is actually kind of a new concept that we have now. So utility token is typically what crypto is used to, and security token is actually when it's backed by equity in a sense. So it has to be listed in a different exchange. I think the future is moving towards security tokens. All the meetings that we've had, SEC is pretty much saying that all utility tokens are considered security tokens, because security tokens basically is you don't need it in the system to be able to operate. Utility token, you need it in a blockchain to be able to operate, but security is like, it's just a store of value for an asset pretty much, just like stocks. All those are considered security. So that's That's kind of it. When you think security, think of stocks. It's just an instrument that retains value, and it's due to price speculation as well. But utility actually functions in an ecosystem like a blockchain. You need the token to be able to transact, to be able to send payments and things like that. So that's the difference between a utility token and a security token. And that's why there's a move now to have projects have a mainnet. Because when they have a mainnet, then that means that you can actually use the token within the ecosystem. But if you release a project and you don't really have a use case for it, then it's technically a security.
Yeah, it's pretty well explained. It's just pretty much a token that holds equity, store of value in a company instead of actual utility within the ecosystem of a company. So it's pretty simple. All right, guys. Oh, okay. So yeah, I'll leave you to it. All right, guys. So Crypto Family here actually has a gift for two people in the audience. So in the crypto space, it is very important that you hold a hardware wallet, right? Because usually when you have an account, let's say in MyEther wallet, and you use private keys, those private keys is what's going to give you access to encrypt your wallet where you're holding your tokens, your assets, right? So if you store those private keys in the wrong area and for some reason somebody obtains it, they could just log into your wallet, transfer the funds out. Basically, you get hacked. So our friends here actually have two treasure hardware wallets that they want to give away to somebody in the general public. The idea is to generate awareness in order to operate in a secure manner within the crypto ecosystem. And I think this is actually a great, something great to bring into the crypto world tour, right? Especially if you guys know with what happened with Ian. So this is actually, it solves that issue about the hack. So I don't know how you want to handle the giveaway, but we have two treasure wallets. Maybe we can either do it over there with Ian or do it now. It really doesn't matter, but we have two treasure, guys. So somebody can be the winner of two treasure wallets, all right? And yeah, to conclude the show, thank you guys very much for coming. It's really been a pleasure. You guys have a beautiful country, beautiful culture, beautiful people. You know, we promised we were going to come out to India, and we're here now. So once again, thank you very much. I hope you guys like the ICOs that pitched. I think they definitely have potential to become the next big things. So once again, we're just bringing value to different places across the globe, and looking forward to networking with everybody here and continue expanding the networking on a global scale. Thank you very much.
Made up in my mind, it's believable. Saw it at the time, it's achievable. Now I got the drive, get the key to go. Got the key to go, if I believe it though. Yeah, being in this space, I know I gotta hold my hope down. Seeing what it takes, I gotta know that I can show how. Questioning myself if I believe it though. No longer question if I'm really a believer though. Now you should take into account that my account can build my belief. Take into account I must account for what I really think. Being in the space, I learn to see. I only ever make what every day I can't believe. I gotta go. This the only life I know. I believe it in my mind, so I know it's time to show. This the only vibe to go. I do believe it, do you believe it? I said, are you a believer till the end? When your funds are low, can you believe in it again? No longer ever questioning yourself if you believe it though. You never questioning yourself if you believe it though. Now there's one thing about the future, you should know that you deserve it all. Landing on the moon, take a belief that's going vertical. Being in the space, I learn to see. I only ever make what every day I can't believe. I gotta go. This the only life I know. I believe it in my mind, so I know it's time to show. This the only vibe to go. I do believe it. Do you believe it? Gotta go. This the only life I know. I believe it in my mind, so I know it's time to show. This the only vibe to go. I do believe it. Do you believe it? Made up in my mind, it's believable. Saw it at the time, it's achievable. Now I got the drive, get the key to go. Got the key to go, if I believe it though. Yeah, made up in my mind, it's believable. Saw it at the time, it's achievable. Now I got the drive, get the key to go. Got the key to go, if I believe it though. Yeah, now I got the drive, now I got the drive. I believe inside, I believe inside.
If you believe in yourself,
I believe.
you don't want to disturb the existing setup of the customer, right? I would like
inside. I say, now I got the drive,
let's
feel
this moment. One life to live, one vibe to grow. Are you a believer? Saw space,
with my family by my side. I believe inside. I say, now I got the drive, now I got the drive.
Are you a believer?
I believe inside, I believe inside.
Are you a believer?
Family by my side, I believe inside. With my family by my side, I will be alright.
Alright. Amen. Are you a believer? Are you? Yeah. Although I failed, I ain't take no L's. I just learned to build. Know me well from the AMA stores around the world. Now I'm swell out in London town. House it made a bail. First the market made a man, then he made the market well. Anytime that the market bleeds, no one must believe. Anytime that the market bleeds, no one must believe. Anytime that the market bleeds, no one must believe. Are you really a believer? Do you buy what you believe? Are you really a believer? Trust what you see, trust who you be, trust in your reach. Trust in the data or the haters who don't read the stuff. Trust in the data or the haters who don't read the stuff. Do you believe or are you really a believer? Trust in the Father, trust the love you set the people up. Trust in the system and the mission you've been speaking of. Trust in the system and the mission you've been speaking of. Do you believe or what? I know the average person's skeptic of us. Yeah, like what is crypto? What's the message of it? Yeah, if you believe you get some lessons from it. Yeah, look how I changed my life in seconds from it. Yeah, this is a change of the guard. Ain't gotta stay at the job, ain't gotta hate on the boss, ain't gotta wait for too long. They'll be laying you off, they'll be saying you soft. Late when you paying your car, facing the pain of your loss. This is a day of a changing it all. We gonna change from it all. Yeah, are you really a believer? Trust what you see, trust who you be, trust in your reach and trust in the data or the haters who don't read the stuff. Trust in the data or the haters who don't read the stuff. Do you believe or are you really a believer? Trust in the Father, trust the love you set the people up. Trust in the system and the mission you've been speaking of. Trust in the system and the mission you've been speaking of. Do you believe or what? Mark it up, mark it down, I'ma trust the data. Mark it up, mark it down, they gon' love me later. Mark it up, mark it down, do yourself a favor. Mark it up, mark it down, only trust the data. Mark it up, mark it down, I'ma trust the data. Mark it up, mark it down, they gon' love me later. Mark it up, mark it down, do yourself a favor. Mark it up, mark it down, only trust the data. Although I failed, I ain't take no L's, I just learned to build. Know me well from the AMA stores around the world. Now I'm swell out in London town, house that made a bail. First the market made the man, then he made the market well. Are you a believer? 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 Yeah. Yeah. Amen. OneDex. Download. How so? You got some features that I can't download. I got the speed, but you turn it down slow. Now I just need to know just how to download. All your features got me saying how so. Let me start it, now the market never made the man. Made the market with a data plan. They saying how so. Conferences and offices and shaking hands. You could come along if you could play to win. Baby, now you know I'll be your everything if you'll be everywhere I go. I'll be there when I say, but I just gotta crack the code. The private key to enter every token of your soul. You got a world of wrong globe to know counsel. You got some features that I can't download. I got the speed, but you turned it down slow. Now I need to know just how to download. All your features got me saying how so. How so, how so, how so. Got some features that I can't download. I got the speed, but you turn it down slow. Now I need to know just how to download. Ain't the only market that I'm trying to explore. OneDex is building one tour. You want more? You know the game is different, but I always play the score. Trying to possess it, so I gotta take it so. You got some features that I can't download. I got the speed, but you turn it down slow. Now I just need to know just how to download. All your features got me saying how so. How so, how so, how so. How so, how so, how so. All them features that I'm trying to download. Turn down slow, how so.
are some features that I can't download. I got the speed, but you turn it down slow. Now I just need to know just how to download. All your features got me saying how so.
It is working.
Yeah. 1, 2, to the moon. Made man, baby, baby. 1, 2, to the moon now. My crypto family. Yeah, check it. It's one leap for mankind. Floated into space for dreams we can't find. Everywhere we be, the team won't stand down. Cause we need the galaxies, can't reach the damn ground. That's a belief that ease your damn mind. Knowing you got peeps that reach when you gone down. The true recruiters of a new movement. Through the flood and the mud, it's the love that help us move through it. It's all fam, ain't no friends here. The sky bright and the moon clear. A crypto family everywhere the man go. A crypto family even when I ain't. Around the globe, see the fam there. A leap of faith made us land here. A crypto family ain't nowhere I can go. A crypto family even when I ain't. Yeah, globetrotters who hit the road with ICO knowledge. Don't got us with joking growth to pay for your college. No scholar has ever taught me how to hold wallets or show my folks about it. I was the most transparent, I was so honest. I know it opened me for jokes when I would scroll comments. And yet it showed those who genuine, I went with them. And yes, it showed those who listened in successes as they implement. This ain't advice, this my life, I'm trying to bring you in. These ain't my friends, they my fam, I'm akin to them. When we assemble, even if there's no resemblance, the folio's the logo and the moon could be the emblem. Yeah, and this space turn a stranger to a best friend. And this way turn a hate into a lesson. The only metric ever matters is the blessings. No more questions. It's all fam, ain't no friends here. The sky bright and
Hello, guys. Thank you so much for coming to the event today. I appreciate all the support. Big round of applause to everyone. Crypto family here in India is amazing. Namaste. All right, now we have 2 prizes to give out. All right, so how should we do this? All right, so I already told you what code name Tel Aviv was. Chromaway, right? Who wants to guess what code name Tuto Bene is? No, not you. Who? Not Marconi, no. What's code name Tuto Bene? No, not Spatium. Yes, Meta Hash. You win the Trezor wallet. Okay. And then what is code name? What's the other one? Belarus. Yes. Now, I want to first qualify that the code names, because we're not fully done vetting them, so definitely do your own research. Right? They're not fully all-stars just yet. Once they are and everything's been confirmed, the name will be revealed on the spreadsheet. But for now, they're projects we're exploring. All right? With that being said, guys, thank you so much. Thank you, India. Namaste. To the moon and beyond. And a Lambo.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you.